So good morning to all. നമ്മൾ ഇന്ന് ഡിസ്കസ് ചെയ്യാൻ പോകുന്നത് so today we are planning to discuss about Euler's angles. Okay. In our last session we were discussed about space and body fixed coordinates, and we also shared the about direction of cosines, which actually utilize in order to relate between two coordinate system. Okay, where the condition has to be there should be two coordinate system, and also the origin of both coordinate system should be common. If that's the condition, you can utilize direction of cosine in order to connect between two coordinate system, especially a space fixed and a body fixed coordinate system. And also we have seen 9 direction cosines in that discussion, and also we said that there are 6 relation you can find between them, that is I dot I, K dot K, and J dot J, and like similarly I dot J, K dot I, and J dot K, similar like that. So we know that when two parameters are different, I dot j and k dot I, which will result into 0, and whereas I dot I will be giving the values of 1. And also we have seen the significance of Kronecker delta function in the direction of cosines method, where the two values are same means you will be having a the result will be 1, and the same if the values are different, then you will be the value result will be 0. So we have seen mainly about two coordinate system, that is about space fixed coordinate system and body fixed coordinate system. So we know that if you just take a circle, I just play here, and if you define this circle coordinate like this, so which is actually called a body fixed coordinate system or body fixed coordinate system, where you can represent the body or the rigid body. Okay, so we have seen what is rigid body is. It's an n particle system with the two particles is separated by a fixed distance, and this is how the body fixed coordinate will be representing. And now if you have a space fixed coordinate, that means there is a space. Okay, so whenever you say the orientation of a rigid body, you need to have a relative space, that is the external space we used to call. Okay, so this external space coordinate also the, so with respect to this external space you will be saying the rigid body system. Okay, so this we call as space fixed coordinate system. Okay, and in our last class we have represented the body fixed one as a primed coordinates, and the other one as body fixed as primed coordinates, and the external space we represented as unprimed coordinates, unprimed coordinates, that is this will be z, y, x, and this as z dash, x dash, and y dash. So this is the representation we have done in last class. And also we can say this body fixed coordinate, also we can say that center of mass coordinate system as well. Okay, rather you can say that it is a center of mass coordinate system. Also the space fixed coordinate you can either term as inertial frame. Okay, inertial fixed coordinate system or inertial frame of reference. This is a center of mass reference, and this is the inertial frame of reference, or rather you can say this as a laboratory frame of reference, rather like that also you can call. Okay, this is a frame of reference of laboratory frame of reference. Okay, these are the alternative names of body fixed and space fixed coordinate. And in last discussion we also said in the meantime that there are 3 independent parameters to specify the orientation of a body. There are 3 independent there are three independent parameters are there. Parameters are to specify the orientation of a rigid body. That is, here if you just simply say it's a x dash, y dash and z dash actually represent the three independent parameter to specify the orientation of a rigid body. Now for a Euler's angles, what we consider is that we need to convert a space coordinate. Okay, so we need to convert a space coordinate system to a space in Euler's angle. Basically what we do is that we need to convert a space coordinate system to a body fixed coordinate system. If you want to convert a space coordinate system to a body fixed coordinate system, then we will utilize this Euler's angle for that. I already said space coordinate system is a rest frame of reference. That's why we call it inertial frame. And body coordinates can be a moving frame of reference as well. Okay. So body coordinate system, we need to convert from a space coordinate system to body set of coordinate system. How do we do that? How do we do that? That is more important here. So for that, we'll just consider that, let me assume that we have a coordinate system like this. Okay, okay, so we have a coordinate system x y z, x y z. So this is actually, we already said this is the space fixed coordinate system. Now from this space fixed coordinate system, you need to generate a body fixed coordinate system, which is represented by the dotted lines here. Like you can see over here. So this is z dash and this is y dash and this is x dash. For convenience, I'll just keep like this. So this dotted line representing a body fixed coordinate system, and the solid line actually representing the space fixed coordinate system. So if you have any system in space fixed coordinate system, if I want to convert into body fixed coordinate system, I use Euler's angle. Okay, I use Euler's angle. Okay, so what we basically do is that we generate a primed coordinates. Okay, primed axis, or rather we can say the primed axis is a, we know that it is a body set coordinates, right? So primed set, we generate a primed axis or a body set from a unpaired axis or unprimed axis. Unprimed axis, that's what I said. From a space coordinate system, we need to create a body coordinate system. Unprimed axis, that is space set of, or rather we can say inertial frame of reference. So how do we do that? How do we create a body coordinate system from a space coordinate system? For that, we need to do a successive rotations for that. Okay, so how do we create that? Means that is through successive rotations. So it is a successive rotations, that it means it's a continuous rotation of three angles basically. Okay, through a successive rotation, and these angles, okay, the angles needed for that are, we call as the angles needed for that, we used to call as Euler angle. Okay, it can be either also Euler's angle, you can also spell it like that, Euler's or Euler's angle. So in order to generate a primed axis or a body set of coordinates from an unprimed axis, we used to do a successive rotation method. So through that successive rotation, one can actually transform an unprimed axis to a primed axis. That means a space set of coordinate to body set of coordinate. I repeat, body set of coordinate is a coordinate that is representing, that is fixed to a particular body, and space fixed means with respect to that body we need to say an initial frame of reference. Like a point of view I yesterday said, it's an observer point of view. We see an object over somewhere there. So as you can see in the figure, we have a circle over here. We are observing from this xyz axis. Okay, so we need to convert a space coordinate system to a body set of coordinate. For that purpose we use actually Euler's angle. This Euler's angle is a three successive rotation angles. Okay, so what is the purpose of this one? Why do we use this Euler's angle is that there are few measurements. There are few measurements that is related to classical mechanics, that is we call as rotating frame measurements. Okay, rotating frame measurements. In those setups we utilize this Euler's angle in order to uh, apply for many application, like for a gyroscope, okay, or like a spacecraft system. So in all these rotational frame measurements comes into act, where this Euler's angle will be a useful technique in order to understand that. And what we do there is that, and what we do in a Euler's angle is that we actually do a transformation from a x y z. Okay, so what we do that, we do a transformation. Okay, so we have seen in yesterday class also some transformation equation. So we need to transform from x y z, that is a space set, right, to x dash, y dash and z dash, that is our body set of axis in specific sequence. So that's what we do in Euler's angle. There are three steps. As I said, it is a successive rotation. So there are three steps involved in this successive rotation method. Okay, so a transformation from x y z to x dash, y dash, z dash, body set in a specific sequence. What we do here is that, so we have x dash, y dash, z dash. So ultimately we need to get these three from where. So from where means by doing an operation R. We'll specify what is R means. So which is operating on x, y, z. Okay, so R is operating on x, y, z, and resultant will be x dash, y dash, z dash. So this is ultimately we need to get. How do we get that? We'll get into in detail. And this R is a 3 by 3 orthogonal matrix. Okay, you already know what is orthogonal matrix is. That if you take A into A transpose, you'll be getting unitary matrix. And similarly, if you take A in A inverse also, you'll be getting a unitary matrix for a orthogonal case. And I said there are three successive rotations are there, and corresponding to that, there is R is basically, it is a system we represent like R phi, R theta, R phi, R psi, R theta, then R phi. These are the three angles we have. One is phi, theta, then psi. We used to call this as body angle, and then we have nutation angle, and we have phi is representing basically precision angle. Okay, so we'll get into touch in detail about what is precision, nutation and body angle in detail. Okay, so this actually R means R phi, sorry, R psi, R theta and R phi, where phi, sorry, psi, theta and phi is the body angle, nutation angle and precision angle we can see over here. Okay, so the first step of this, in order to convert a space set of axis to body set of axis, there are three steps involved. So we have, okay, in order to convert from space set to body set using Euler's angle, there are three steps involved in the process. So we'll look into each step. I'll say the first step is, okay, first step is first rotation by an angle. Okay, first rotation by an angle we call as phi, angle phi along z axis. Okay, first step is a rotation by an angle phi. Okay, phi along z axis is our we need to represent, and this will be in anti-clockwise direction. Okay, anti-clockwise direction, because as you can see in the figure earlier we have represented that it is actually moving from anti-clockwise direction. Okay, you can see that we have represented a figure over here, like you can see here, which is actually moving. We have y over here and it is following a path on anti-clockwise direction. Z is transforming to z dash and x is transforming to x dash, then y is transforming to y dash. It is in a anti-clockwise direction, we have to say. And so we'll also take the first rotation by an angle phi along z axis in anti-clockwise direction. This is the first step corresponding to, in order to find the Euler's angle representation. And if you do so, what will be our image will be, I'll just represent over here. For that I'll take some color. So we have x, y, z axis over here. Okay, this is our x, this is our y, and this, sorry, this is our y and this is our z. Okay, and now what we said is that we are rotating phi an angle. Okay, an angle phi along z axis, that means anti-clockwise direction as well, and we are saying that this is rotating along this direction, anti-clockwise direction, at an angle phi, and we say that the z will be equal to z1. What is z1 mean is the change in change in uh, change to body axis direction. So first change will be z1 corresponding to that, then next will be z2 and z3, that is a successive rotation will be transforming. In the first condition we say that when you have a precision along z axis and it is the angle we change along z axis in anti-clockwise direction, the z will be same, but there will be a change correspond to, there will be a change correspond to, you can observe for x-axis, that you can represent as, there will be a change correspond to phi, x dash will be the, okay, this x dash can be either represented as x1. Okay, I better represent as x1 because this is our first rotation, so we'll represent as x1 here. Okay, then when we rotate a z equal to z1 and over an angle phi, so this is the angle phi, and similarly you can see a change in corresponding to y dash as y1 as well. So that is, this is phi with an angle phi with respect to y. So there will be a change you can observe over here. And now on the thing we can say that there is no change corresponding to the axis of z. So z is equal to z1. Okay, for the first rotation it is z1 itself, but there is a change corresponding to the axis of x and y, you can see over here. And now if you expand this x and y, then we'll see that I'm just taking only x and y over here. So we can see that, let me just take a pen. So I just take xy axis around here. So if I represent, this is a x and this is y, and we said that there is a small slight change in angle between both two, and that we represented here as phi, and on this side we are also having a phi angle between them. And now if you represent x1, we know that this is x1 and this is y1. Okay, now if you represent x1, then we know that by using it will be x cos phi. Okay, x cos phi plus y sin phi, this is how we notate that. And also we have y1 will be equal to y cos phi minus x sin phi will be our corresponding representation. Okay, so why do we represent like this is because when you want to create a generalized coordinate, like already we have seen that x dash, sorry, not x dash, okay, x dash itself, we have seen in the first, x dash y dash z dash will be equal to r into x y z. Now for the first rotation what we derive is that we'll also get x1. Sometimes I'll be representing small x or small y, doesn't matter, you can keep it either one of them. So y1 and z1 as like this. So we have observed x1 corresponding to here, and we have r phi angle we have derived here. R phi is a corresponding change, so that is x y z. And now if you see what is r phi, is that r phi is actually representing a matrix. So the matrix element, we can say that x1 y1 z1, which is actually a cos phi sin phi 0, because there is no component of z over here. And in the next line we have minus sin phi cos phi, then 0. And for kth element, okay, for kth element we don't have 0 0 and 1, there is only z we are having corresponding to that. Okay, this is how we represent that first case, and into xy cell will be the our transforming matrix corresponding to that. Okay, so this matrix we usually call as r phi, and which is one of the transformation matrix in order to transform a xyz axis into x1 y1 and z1. Okay, and this phi, we said that, which is actually precision angle, because it is just preceding on a z axis, is axis of rotation, just as we know that Lambert's precision and all you have already studied. So it is only just precising the rotation along z axis, so there is no change corresponding to on the z axis. That will be treated as z is equal to z1. Okay, and the phi we used to call as I said, it is called as precision angle here. So the for the corresponding matrix we are represented here, and where we get this cos phi sin phi, you can see here that for corresponding to x1 what we got is cos phi sin phi. X1 is equal to cos phi plus y sin phi, and the z element is 0. Okay, and similarly for y1, that is y cos phi minus sin phi. So that is the x element is minus sin phi, then y element is cos phi, and this is equal to 0 and 0 0 1 for z1, because there is no change in x and y, there is a value corresponding to z, that is 1 will be obtaining for that case. So this is the first step for in order to create or transform a space set to body set. So this is the first step in Euler's angle, and now we'll move on to the second step. In second step, what we do is that we are doing a rotation. Basically what we are doing over here, that we are changing an angle means it's a rotation, right? Rotation along anti-clockwise direction. Now, and this time what we do is that the rotation is along x1 axis. Okay, the rotation is along x1 axis. Okay, and we say that the x1 will be equal to x2. So there will be no change in the rotation along x1 axis with an angle. I used to say with an angle theta. So theta, we already said it is called a nutation angle, and again the direction of rotation is anti-clockwise here. Okay, so the next step is rotation along x1 axis with an angle theta in anti-clockwise direction. If we do so, what we observe is that in that case we'll have a figure is like this. Okay, where already we said that z is equal to z1 at one stage. Okay, and we have y over here, and also we have x over here, and we represented the y1 as, okay, y1 as, so we are already having y1, okay, by an angle phi. Okay, then also we have x1, right? This is our x1. Okay, now we again transforming this by an angle theta, and if the angle is theta, so the corresponding change we can notate by like this, that is there is a change corresponding to the y axis by an angle theta, and now our y1 becomes what? Y2. Okay, it becomes y2 over here, and I said that its rotation is along x1 axis. So x1 will be equal to x2. There is no change corresponding to x1. x1 will be equal to x2, but z-axis, there is a change along z-axis by an angle theta by this rotation, and now the rotation is along this axis. Okay, this will be transforming to z2. Okay, so what we have done is that first we have rotated by an angle phi. Now we are that rotation was along along z axis. Now we are rotating along x1 axis by an angle theta, and where x1 will be equal to x2, and there will be a corresponding change along y axis by an angle theta, and there is a corresponding change in position by z2 for z along with an angle theta. So this is our second rotation. For this case, what we observe is that we'll also get a second matrix over here, that is x2, y2, z2 will get us like this: 1 0 0. Okay, and 0 cos theta, sin theta, and next we'll be getting the value as 0 minus sin theta, cos theta. Likewise, you will be getting the transformation matrix corresponding to that. And now what we are transforming here is that x1, y1, z1 we are transforming here. Okay, so this is our second step corresponding to that. Okay, from that what we are transforming here is that first we transformed xyz into x1 y1 z1. Now we are transforming x1 y1 z1 into x2, y2 and z2. Okay, this is the second step in order to create a space fixed coordinate to a body fixed coordinate. And we also already said that there is an angle theta which is called a nutation angle. Okay, this angle we used to call as nutation angle here. Okay, moving on to third step. In the third step, what we do is that we have the third step here. Third step, what we are doing here is that we'll have the third rotation is along. Third rotation is along z axis again. Okay, it is along z axis again with an angle psi. Okay, psi in anti-clockwise direction. By this rotation, we'll reach our body set of coordinates. That's why we call this as body angle. Okay. By this rotation, we'll reach to a space coordinate will be completely transformed to a body set of coordinate. So the third rotation is along z-axis with an angle psi in anti-clockwise direction. By this rotation, will transform a space set of coordinate to completely to body set of coordinate. That's why we call this angle as body angle corresponding to that. Now we'll see how do we the corresponding representation will be look like. We'll see over here. For that, again I repeat the representation of the graph. You can see over here that we have x, y, z axis we already having. Okay, x, y, z, and now we are we having few values. That is, we can see that this is our y1, and we also having x1 over here, and we already represented z1 also. So we'll see that also in a second. And earlier we have seen for theta we have an angle theta here, and with respect to that we have theta here. Okay, in that case the rotation was like here. And now here in the third case, by an angle, one sec, I'll just represent theta or phi also here. This was our phi. Okay, now the final rotation what we are doing is that it's along z-axis. That means z2 will be equal to z1. So our final rotation is along anti-clockwise direction on z2 equal to z1 in that case. And in that case there will be a corresponding change phi. Okay, phi an angle will sorry, not phi, psi. Okay, so by an angle psi, then in that case that x3 becomes x1. Okay, x3 becomes x1. We already say that x1 is equal to x2, so we also we can say that x3 will be equal to x1 in that case, and y1 will be, the y1 values will be transforming to y3 equal to y1 here, y3 equal to y1 here in this case. Okay, so y3 equal to y1, it is transforming to y3 equal to y1, z2 equal to z1, and x3 will be equal to x1. Like that it will be completely transforming. And now we can say that this is a complete representation of a Euler's angle. And what we observe is finally here is that now we are in x dash, Now we'll have x dash, now we'll obtain x dash. Okay, x dash, y dash and z dash will obtain by this rotation. For that, what the operation we have executed is that we have cos phi sin phi 0 minus sin phi cos phi 0, and 0 0 1 is the corresponding transformation matrix, and we'll obtain by transforming x2 y2 and z2, and we'll be reaching to a body set of coordinate by this rotation transformation matrix. Okay, this is how we do our operations on Euler's angle. By 3 successive rotation we can actually reach a space set of coordinate to body set of coordinate. And as you can see here that we have 3 matrices corresponding to each one. We have r theta, we have seen r phi, we have seen, and also r psi. So the final rotation we have done is that our first rotation was r phi, right? Our second rotation was r theta, and our third rotation was r psi. When you represent the 3 successive rotation, we actually represent the like this, because when we take the successive rotation, the first step was by an angle phi, but when you write it in operation, so you have to keep it at the last one here. Okay, r equal to r phi r theta r phi, but the first rotation should be this one is the first one, then we rotate by theta, this is the second one, and this was the third rotation we have done. Okay, so when you are writing r equal to r phi r theta r phi, you have to represent it like this. The first rotation will be the last one in the equation. Okay, when you write it in the equation, the first rotation will keep on the last one, and the second rotation will be on the second place, and the third rotation will be coming as the first one. Okay, the similar representation you can see in your group theory discussion in your third semester. Okay, in that, not third semester, in second semester mathematical physics 2, in group theory you can see similar rotation theory you can also see over there, and the same way we do for the case of a crystal symmetry rotation also. The first rotation we used to represent at the last, and the second rotation on the second. What I mean is that when you represent an equation like this, so this is the first executing part. Okay, phi will be the phi change in phi angle will be the first rotation, then followed by theta by an angle theta, then followed by psi. That's how we do our rotation for a case of successive rotation case. Okay, now initially we said that r equal to r phi r theta r phi, so now we able to deduce the same here. And what is r means? R means what? It is actually what? It is the sum of all the values we represented over here. So for what we have represent r equal to r phi r theta, then r phi. Okay, where phi psi is the body angle, this is a nutation angle, and phi is our precision angle that we already said. And now the importance of this one is that when you take this function, that is r, okay, r we already said, we know that r is a particularly a matrix, right? So it's a representing a matrix. There are 3 metrics corresponding to that, so we can represent each one here. So I am not going in detail to the representation, but instead I said that this is cos phi sin phi 0 and minus sin phi, sorry, it was not phi, psi, right? Okay, it was r equal to cos psi sin psi 0 and minus sin psi cos psi 0 and 0 0 1 and into we have 0 cos theta 1 0 0 sorry 0 cos theta sin theta 0 minus sin theta cos theta and into we have uh, cos phi sin phi 0 minus sin phi cos phi 0 and 0 0 1 as you can see over here. Okay, this is how we represent where this is r phi and this is our r theta and this is our r phi. Okay, so you can see the corresponding representation like there. And now if you just multiply these matrices to each other, you will be getting a matrix corresponding to that. Okay, a larger matrix that you can do by yourself. And what we observe is that we'll get R as a matrix corresponding to that. And what we in generally what we have done is that we are transforming this matrix with respect to 1 to 1. So what we have done is that we have done that x, generally we take that the x is a unprimed matrix, which is actually we are converting to x dash here, primed one. Okay, that is a space set we are converting to a body set. And similarly we can do x dash into x as well. Okay, so for transforming a into x dash, what we have done, we have done that x equal to, what we have done is now here is that x dash is equal to a x, right? So this is how we have transformed a unprimed matrix into unprimed matrix into primed matrix. What is this means? This is the unprimed matrix, okay, which we converted by an angle, sorry, not a, so okay, r, okay, by an angle r. So we converted a matrix to x dash now. Similarly also we can do x can be identified from a primed matrix as well by taking r inverse of x dash. Okay, now if you take r inverse x dash, you can transform actually a primed matrix into an unprimed matrix. Okay, so this how you can do these things. You can here first one we have done unprimed matrix into primed matrix. What is unprimed and primed? I repeat here, we take that primed one is our body fixed, okay, and unprimed one is space fixed. Okay, so the in first case what we are doing is that we actually converting unprimed. Unprimed means space fixed coordinate to body fixed coordinate. For that you can utilize x dash is equal to rx, where r is r psi, r theta, r phi. And if you want to do the reverse operation, that is if you want to convert a body fixed coordinate to a space fixed coordinate, you can use the same way by x is equal to r inverse x dash. What is r inverse? So you'll be getting a matrix over here, a larger matrix over here. So you can take the inverse of that matrix and then you can multiply to x dash, then you'll be getting the unprimed coordinate, that is space fixed coordinate you can obtain from a body fixed coordinate. And also we can see that if you take r inverse over here, okay, I said that r is the matrix, right? So if you take the r inverse, you'll be actually getting r transpose. Since it's a matrix, you'll be getting if you take the r inverse of that, you'll be actually getting r transpose corresponding to that. That means one way you can say that this matrix actually transforming like R inverse R equal to a unitary matrix, or rather we can say that R into R transpose actually you'll be getting as a unitary matrix. Okay, so this is actually following a what is unitary matrix is means this is a where determinant will be 1 for that case for a unitary matrix, and we used to call as this matrix. We already said this is a 3 by 3 orthogonal matrix. Already we said that this is a 3 by 3 orthogonal matrix, and also we can say in a way that which is a proper orthogonal matrix. Okay, proper or pure orthogonal matrix. Okay, so we'll get a proper orthogonal matrix as we represented here. Okay, so this is how we do convert a primed coordinate or space fixed coordinate to a body fixed coordinate, and a body fixed coordinate to a space fixed coordinate. Okay, so you can see that the operation is on space fixed coordinate by an angle R. Okay, by a matrix R, then you will be getting actually a body fixed coordinate corresponding to that, and where here you can see that we are operating on a x dash, that is a body fixed coordinate by an R inverse of that matrix, then you will be getting the corresponding space fixed coordinate system. So this is a kind of transformation matrix. Basically Euler's angle is utilized in order to convert a space fixed coordinate to body set, and the vice versa by using R inverse. Okay, so that's the importance of Euler's angle. You can actually transform from one coordinate system to another coordinate system by utilizing these matrices, and the angle, especially the three angles: precision angle, the nutation angle, and the body angle. The three angles we used to call as Euler's angle. Okay, Euler's angle or Euler's angle you can call as. So three successive rotation, by three successive rotation you can actually transform a fixed coordinate system to another coordinate system, from a space coordinate system to a body coordinate system. That's all for today, and tomorrow we'll be discussing about infinitesimal rotation and the range of vectors as well. Those details will be discussed by tomorrow, and just study what all things we already learned. First, in last discussion we have done what is space fixed and body fixed coordinate and the direction of cosines, and today we said how do we change a space fixed coordinate to body fixed coordinate by Euler's angle by three successive rotation. This is useful for applying and for many application like rotating frame measurements, especially in gyroscope and spacecraft system. This we use this as one of the tool we use to change from one coordinate to another coordinate system. Okay, oh, you know that what is space coordinate system and all means. If you want to consider any element object in a like celestial object, something like star or something like moon or something, if you want to convert that coordinate system of that moon into a coordinate system that the people who are sitting in the earth, where you can actually utilize this Euler's angle. Okay, so that's the basic idea of this Euler's angle. Hope you are clear with the discussion. If you have any doubt on the discussion, you can ask me now. Oh, okay.